second. It says you are live. Let's see. They seem to have say something
Light
Sasha,
here.
Something.
Okay.
Sasha, please.
Dum 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 dum. Waiting. Excellent connection. Okay, go live. We are going live.
So I'm going to check.
Live. 1 second. See. It says you
They
are
seem
live.
to have
Say something
light
Sasha,
here.
Something.
Okay.
Seem to have say.
Sasha, please.
Dum 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 dum. Waiting. Okay. So I'll put the intro and then we start. And we are live. Trumpcast number 60. News and more news. So many people today. It's so crowded. If you want to participate, if someone is interested in this, go on trumpsite.com/chat and you can participate if you want. It's open participation. We're going to discuss today about some news, some updates, moan about stuff, bitch about stuff. That's what we do. And if anyone wants to bitch about stuff, they can participate to our
You need
cast.
a place to complain?
Yeah.
You come here.
You come here. Let's discuss a bit about the coronavirus. It's not that popular anymore, the COVID thing. It's unpopular, it seems. I'll bring up
those-
that counter.
This US elections killed the virus.
Yeah.
Wiped it out of the news.
Yeah, actually.
To the point that I feel like people think it's like done. It's over.
Mhm.
Well, really, it's
Yeah, because you usually go on the, if you go on the Al Jazeera website, which is from another part of the world than US, you usually see there either people killed by corona or by bombs, But now you see, for the past 2 weeks or whatever, whenever the elections were in US, you could see like this fucking, almost like a game, elections, this one or this one, red versus blue. I was like, what the fuck is this? Even Al Jazeera, So it's not popular anymore. But still, COVID, I see. I remember when we were doing those Trumpcasts and we were saying like, oh my god, 500,000 cases, is growing, and now 62 million cases and almost 5 million deaths. It's going strong. Look at it here. I'm showing on the Worldometer the deaths and everything, and yeah, it's bad. It's actually is worse than when in many parts of the world than when they locked us down. Remember?
yeah, the second wave.
It was the second wave because the holidays
Now-
are coming. We need to open the economy. You can see
Yeah.
that's how it is.
But it's interesting. I guess you wanted to talk about that article about Sweden.
Oh yeah. That was just opening up with something positive here.
yeah. But it's interesting because they didn't really put in too many restrictions, and their cases were a bit high, high compared to their neighboring countries in the beginning, and then in the summer it went down, and now just like Spain and Italy and UK and France, they're experiencing a much greater second wave.
Yeah. I wanted to see on the Worldometer how they were doing. So yeah, on Worldometer I'm showing here like at first they didn't have that many cases, and then they just skyrocketing. If you can see here, it's just like boom. And it's interesting to see, how this will go, because, Sweden was different than the other tribes. They were like, we don't put them many restrictions in place. Let's see how it goes. It could be quite soon to say if it goes well like that for them or not in the end. You don't know, but it's interesting because, like, if you look at Spain or Italy or UK, they were very restrictive. Like, even now, we are not allowed to go out in Spain after 10 p.m. And despite that, they were just like smashed by cases, smashed by deaths. So was that effective? Maybe it would be a lot worse than if they didn't put in place those restrictions. But yeah, we'll see.
But here in Spain, they were really strict. Like in the beginning, they said that we couldn't even go for a walk outside, like not even into the forest by yourself, not even to the empty beach,
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a bit nuts. But I guess that was, probably their way to control easier.
Yeah, but same now, because we were talking like we're not allowed to go out after 10 p.m. But the restaurants are open now, and people just crowded there, and they talk so loudly, and they're like all of them together, very close to where you go, pass by them, go for a walk. So it's like, okay, but then I'm not allowed to go out after 10 p.m. I don't know. It's just fuck. I hope these decisions are scientific and so forth, but I feel like they just rush with all of these things. It's also a tricky situation, of course, because you don't fucking know how to handle this.
Yeah.
You don't know. It was even a study in one of those. And by the way, this curated news, we get them from tromsø.com/tools. And then we have this curated news. It was another one about this, where I got that from, about the study, about the Danish mask study. It was a study in Denmark, in Danish, the Danish study showcasing that their conclusion was that masks are not that efficient. They study, I think, around 30,000 people, and they said that, as far as I remember, something like if you are wearing a mask, your chances of getting COVID are 2% or something if you are wearing a mask. And if you don't wear a mask, if you don't wear a mask, it's 2%. And if you wear a mask, it's 1.8% or something. So it's a reduction of 0.2% of protection. But some people argue that the study was not that well conducted and so forth. I would not be surprised. That's my point I wanted to make. To find out after years, or but next year, in the middle of next year or in the end, that masks may not even protect you at all, and maybe it's just not working.
But it could also be a factor, how people wear the masks.
Yeah, of course.
Roma showed us this picture of this woman. She had this mask, and then she cut a hole in the middle here. We've seen other people, like take it off, sneeze, and then put it back on, or just like wear it here all the time, have their nose exposed, and that's what people do all the time. So yeah, maybe if people wore masks properly and wore proper masks, maybe it could help.
Yeah, and generally, if it's not really tight, you are breathing the air in and out, in the sides of the masks from the sides and so forth. So it may not even be.
Yeah, but even if it's a small, like say 0.2%, when you put that on the massive population, that would still make a difference.
Probably, but it's 0.2% out of that 2%. So it's like 2% chances to get coronavirus, and if you put a mask, you have a 1.8%. But it's kind of disputed, the study.
Yeah.
So I wanted to mention it. For now, just wear the fucking mask. It's not a big fucking deal. Just wear the fucking mask. Why I wanted to do this Trumpcast mainly was to discuss about something that flies under the radar for, I feel like, for organizations like TVP or TCM. it's a reason why we discuss about trade as the origin of most problems. It's not money or this monetary system, it's a reason for that. And the reason for that is that online, it's a place where it makes more sense, when to talk about trades and not money. And we explain so many times, like if you go on YouTube has an abundance of videos. It's ridiculous for someone to claim that that's not abundance because of some copyright things, or maybe YouTube owns those videos, or no, it's an abundance of videos. You cannot be naive to say that. And YouTube puts ads into your face, so they want your attention. It's a trade, right? They want your data. It's another trade. Facebook works the same. Most of the online services work on this model that is called the attention economy or data trading and so forth. So it makes so much sense, in this online world to talk about trades and not talk about money. Because if you talk about money, then it looks like a great world. Facebook is free, Google is free, YouTube is free. Most of these services are free. TikTok, it's very much free. Fuck TikTok. But with trades, you notice them right away, because you go on TikTok and like, okay, what am I trading here? What do they want from me? It's clear. They want your attention because they put ads. They want your data because they create your data. They even have some coins there. It's like you buy some shit on TikTok if you, have more views and so forth. So it makes a lot more sense, plus the social credit and so forth.
And they want you to make ads to watch ads and to make ads, because now they have like a new thing, right, where they try to get kids to basically have contests making like ads for different companies.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing, like say Taco Bell or McDonald's or whatever the fuck is. I don't even know these big companies anymore. Was trendy now, but they say Taco Bell. They are like, okay, TikTok, we pay you to launch a dance challenge. And in the sidebar there, TikTok is like, hey, the Taco Bell dance challenge, who wants to participate? And whoever participates gets boosted, like more views and more likes. And these useful morons, like, I'm sorry, but probably most of the world's population, I think that's at least from the TikTok perspective, they're useful morons start to dance, the taco dance challenge, and they advertise the taco, right? It's a brilliant advertising scheme. It's so brilliant, just use the kids to advertise for Taco Bell, and just Taco Bell pays TikTok, and TikTok gets to be more popular. More people go there, they see their other ads that TikTok is paid for and so forth. Brilliant.
The morons are happy because they get more views, more likes.
Yeah.
And it's an ad.
So I was saying about this online world it goes under what we're talking about here. I feel like goes under the radar for people from TVP or TZM around that, because I talked to them a bunch of times, and we hear. I know their views from, like, I've worked with TVP. Sasha worked with TVP for a while as well. They don't talk about these things in like data collection and this new model of trading. Not your money, but your data, your attention, your energy, your social score, and so forth. And they may think that it's not that important, it's just still money. It's not, because these things are going into your offline world. And I wanted to show you an example. Let me see this one. So this is what happened recently. People turned on their vacuum cleaners, like they usually do, or they should turn them by themselves, right? Or they have this doorbell or door lock that is, again, smart, lots of smart things in their house. And suddenly, one day, 2 days ago, they stopped working. They're like, oh my God, they died. Machines can die, And after they investigated a bit, they realized that Amazon servers didn't work. And you might think, what's that to do with the fucking machines that I have in my house? Well, a lot. Because these machines are so smart, they have to connect to Amazon servers and get instructions from there, and become smart, right? So some people had a shock, like, so what? These are like connected to this invisible cable to Amazon? Yes, they are, And Amazon, actually, I saw in the commentary recently, they have this Amazon house kind of concept where they have over 100,000 devices connected with their Alexa services, meaning to their own service. So that's the future. It goes into your house, and your vacuum cleaner, your toaster, your fridge, everything else will be so-called smart, meaning owned by Amazon, right? And you give them your data, you give them your attention through ads, maybe in the future some social score of some sort, and you get some benefits in return. And that's the world that we're going to live in. And I don't want to talk all of this terms by myself. So let's pretend that I'm going to ask Sasha now. What do you think about this, Sasha? Where do you see this future going?
Yeah, that's a bit scary. And that's when you should be thinking about trades as opposed to money, because maybe in the future they'll say, oh, you can use this toaster for free and it will be money free. Maybe you can go and get like a bunch of different things from Amazon and they'll give it to you for free, just like now you can use Facebook for free or YouTube for free, and then it will collect data, and I don't know, I feel like it's it's turning into a scary world. These, I didn't know they had over 100,000 different devices.
Yeah.
Connected to Alexa now.
Yeah, over 100,000. Yeah. In a documentary that was just a year or two ago made, or a year, it was 60,000. But recently, what I've read these days is like over 100,000. They're bragging how they have over 100,000 connected devices. And that's scary. Here's another thing. You know how Amazon is this online store, right? If you want to sell something, where the fuck do you go? You have to go on Amazon. You have no other choice. That's the public square of, not discussions this time, but selling shit. So Amazon is bullying companies because they can put what they have so much power there. It's like, you have to come to me to sell your shit. So I can put whatever restrictions I want, and I can be very bossy with you. What's happening now that you will see is happening the same with so-called smart devices. Say you have a smart device. It's going to be quite dumb if it doesn't connect to Amazon's Alexa to connect with other devices, right? You can't just fucking make a dumb light bulb that just changes colors by one app. It has to connect with either Google Home or Alexa or Apple, whatever the fuck. So these companies will own by the balls the offline world, the electronics. They will own it by the balls, like the same way that they do with the digital world. And this is something so important because you cannot not talk about this, right? You have to talk about this fucking shit, because if you really think that this monetary system is so bad, right, and you have to replace it, you will be scammed by these motherfuckers, if they come to you with this free shit, free internet, free stuff, free access, free publishing tools. I've seen this so-called organizations that want to fight against the system still use the same stupid fucking shit Facebook, and other. I mean, at least when we use YouTube, I apologize. Look, I apologize. We stream on YouTube, but we put our videos on archive.org as well. Just like for the principle of thing, I can't just criticize the shit out of them and let's make a book about how Amazon is so fucking destroying such a fucking evil, and then sell it on Amazon for $24.99. I think that's just.
I'm sure they do that.
Oh yeah, it's full of such books on Amazon. Oh, but what can we do? Well, at least apologize. Be like, okay, apologize. We have to use the monster. I gave this analogy. I was saying about this analogy one time with I feel like Facebook, for example, and applies to Amazon too. It's like this fucking monster, right? And this monster throws a party. It's this big fucking house. It's like very, very loud. And you go to this monster's house, because it's like that's where everybody is, and he throws a party, and then you see this monster is like it's putting drugs in girls' drinks and so forth, and like rapes them sometimes, or spies on people. It's a fucking bad monster, and you are like, oh, I saw the fucking monster doing these fucking bad things, but then you start to scream about these bad things that he's doing outside of his house, and then go to other people's houses. No one is home because everybody's this monster's practice house, and you finally you have no other choice. That's what these organizations do. And we do sometimes.
That's how Facebook is.
Yeah, we have no other choice but to go on this monster's house, because that's where all of the people are, and start to talk about the monster. Hey guys, the monster is like drugging girls, fucking them, and spying on people in the toilets. There's cameras and all of that, and not only that, but you sit on the same table with the monster and everybody around.
And the monster's giving you cookies as you're talking.
Yeah. It's like, you're like, oh, look at this monster, look at the motherfucker. And then everybody's like, oh, really? Oh my God, this is so awful. And then the monster's like, take a cookie, take a cookie, take a cookie. And like, oh, it's so awful. He's like, but that's good. I like these cookies. Thank you, monster. And the party continues. It's a big party. More people come there. And your voice that's the awful thing. Because back in the day, maybe you're against some shell company or whatever the fuck. You're screaming on these platforms about the shell company. Now it's so ridiculous. You go on their platform to scream about their platform because you have no other fucking choice. And it's not working anyways. It's like, oh, whatever. People are like, oh, whatever. Should still use Facebook.
Yeah, I was saying probably after that film, The Social Dilemma came out, people probably made Facebook groups about the social dilemma. I'm sure. What do we do now?
Let's make a Facebook group to bash Facebook. At least we are. For those who wonder, we are on this Friendica, it's a federated social network. It's 1,000 times better. It's federated. It connects with all like the previous Trumpcast. Just see the previous Trumpcast, right? And we post automatically on these social networks just to that's it. I don't even touch them anymore. Fuck that shit. If people, because I don't want to completely give up on that. If people are still in the monsters party house,
because the party's still going.
The party is still going, but I left the party. I'm somewhere else. I'm just sending my pigeons there with messages automatically. Poor pigeons. That's what I do.
So the posts go automatically from Friendica to Facebook.
Yeah. So I post on Friendica basically, but it goes on Facebook. And that's my point here. Like, people from TVP and TZM, dear friends, please wake up to this fuckery because it's going to explode. You've seen nothing. Like, look at this room behind me. It's a fucking dumb room. In a few years' time, that door will not open unless I have some fucking app or whatever is compatible with the entire house, and the bed, it comes with the package. That's how it's going to be. And people will get mesmerized by such things. You have to explain that to them. Because even if this, TVP wants to build a city, okay? For one, I can argue endlessly that I do not trust TVP building any city. I just don't trust TVP. I've said that many times. I don't think they are capable of doing anything, or that this is relevant in any ways. It's not a discussion. But imagine they want to build a city, TVP or whoever. Oh, let's build a city. And now they get so much money, finally, and support. And now someone like Google or rather comes along and be like, we will build your network system. Why not? Because we collect data and we put ads into people's faces. And what about the self-driving cars? Well, we have a fleet of self-driving cars now, and maybe we can rent it to you. And if you are not alert of why trade is a source of most problems, not money. If Google doesn't ask you money, but in a charlatan way, it collects data and so forth, you may not realize that it's a problem. It's a very slippery slope. So that's what I'm worried about. These people who are still on the same fucking Facebook. At least they don't even search for an alternative. It's funny that they search for an alternative for a different kind of society, a different world. Have you seen those self-sustainable communities? Some say, well, why can't you look at smaller examples? What about a different kind of social platform? Huh? For one, right? So that annoys me.
Yeah, I would also say that another problem will be if you want your city to be modern and new in the future, not too far away future, like Tio said, the room needs to be smart. The house is going to be smart. There's going to be all kinds of smart devices. It's already coming, and there's only going to be 2 companies that control all these smart devices, basically. So you won't even have an alternative to have smart devices. Well, I don't know. Maybe people will eventually start making alternatives, people that are pissed off at Amazon and Google and whatever. But yeah, I think most likely we'll get eaten up by these big companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you think that, it's free though, they're offering me these free kind of things, then you will get fooled.
Yeah, even if they are open source, this is not a bullshit that people tell themselves, it's open source, it's great. Okay, it's great, it's not enough. I've seen many open source applications that are full of ads and collect users' data. So what is in the open? People accept it because who the fuck cares anyways? In this world, no one has any time to fork it, and do it without data collection and so forth. So, but with trades, it cuts to the bullshit. It's like, okay, what am I trading here? Google wants to give me some self-driving cars or some the network, to build a network. What am I trading to you, Google? Do you want something from me? Like what? If you want my data, that's problematic. If you want my attention, that's problematic, or users' attention, you know. And yeah, that's an extremely important point that I feel most people are fucking missing. Is like, it's frustrating, you know, and I see this because it's happening. It's a tsunami. And speaking of that, you know, I have another news. Hold on, because I have a few one. For one, it's another one saying like popular pirate websites start to disappear from search engines. So that's something that people got used to, you know, even though it's a very fucked up thing. If you have a search engine that searches the internet, depends who owns that search engine, right? And if they don't want you to look for something, you will not find it. And since Google owns like 90+% of the searches online, because that's what people use, they can direct your thoughts basically to whatever they want. And I remember I put this in a book, I think it was Morality and Ethics. It was this funny thing. If you searched on Google, let's see if I can do it now. Google. If I do it now, let's see, because I don't use Google, I use Cirx. But let's suppose I use Google. What if I search for, you know, it's this very controversial word called nigger.
You're right, you're not supposed to say it.
I did. Maybe they will stop on my stream. See, you cannot search for that even. Okay, or fuck. See, you cannot. You don't have any any suggestions for the or fuck. But what about rape? Rape statistics, you know, rape victim, rape hotline, rape statistics, you know. What about murder? Murders at the White House, Murderpedia, you know, Murder Hornet, you know, killing Eve, killing stalking, killing team, all kinds of killing, maybe movies and so forth. So my point is that, you know, if Google has something against some words like fuck, oh my god, don't say the word fuck. But you can find about killings, you know, murderers, rapers, people who rape, people who kill in detail. You can find that. Google will auto suggest to you, you know. So my point here is that they just choose arbitrary, these stupid things like, oh fuck, don't say fuck, it's just a word. But what about when people search about murder and rape and other fucked up things like hanging chair, hanging or whatever, all kinds of fucking things. Like I give an example in the book of this a rapper, you know, Dr. Dre or something. It was back in my days. And he has this fucked up song, very popular song, but it says about something like, I'll get you nigger and I put you in my whatever and I cut your throat and I like all of this. From all of this, he was only banned the word nigger, right? Or the word fuck from YouTube. You know, it was blip, 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 but not when like cut your head, you know, and like or rape you or like, what is this world? And my point here is that, you know, these people who own these search engines, they own your thoughts in a way. It depends when you search for something, it goes to their filters, right? And we know that with Google. People, oh, Google is so bad. Okay, let's go to DuckDuckGo. And I got fooled by DuckDuckGo as well. I was like, oh, DuckDuckGo, okay, because I was using an ad blocker. But DuckDuckGo also when you search something on their search results on the search engine, they put ads first, and that's extremely deceiving. Like, fuck you, DuckDuckGo. I don't care that, oh, this is your business model. So that's a fucking deceiving search engine. And now what they do, they also remove pirated websites, right? So for example, you search for say Pirate Bay or something. Oh, you won't find the website anymore, and you might think, oh, it disappeared from this internet, right? It doesn't. It didn't. It just disappeared from DuckDuckGo. So that's why I recommend, you know, we use this Cirx, you know, on Tromland.org. Cirx is another search engine that takes searches from multiple such other search engines and conglomerates them, so you have better search results. But that was my point. Like they also own this thing. It's not just about digital stuff. It's about your thoughts. It's about your electronics and your thoughts, you know, and your friends and what you read and what you know about the world. So that was another example from this Tom Creator News with how DuckDuckGo plays dirty, you know.
Yeah, and of course, in the previous Tromcast as well, when we talked about, you know, these other social networks and YouTube and things like that, we also talked more about, you know, how they're influencing your thoughts, because they're always showing you content that they will keep you on the platform, and they can take you down a rabbit hole, and that's usually what happens. And that's why there's all kinds of
why, Sasha? Why do they want to do that? Like
because they want your attention. They make money off that.
Yeah, they become more powerful and so forth.
But that's the thing, we were talking about this, and I think a lot of people might say, like, okay, but it's still all about money. These platforms want money from all this data that they collect from you. What would you say?
I would say wrong. Maybe for now they want money because that's what they use. They will use other cryptocurrencies, or they will use social credits, or they will just want to hold onto so much power that they will influence elections if they want that for other profits of theirs. Money is just a representation of trades. That's all it is. People should stop talking about money as if money is so evil. No, Bitcoin is as evil, Ethereum is as evil, social credits are as evil, all kinds of tokens and points are as evil, in the sense that they can be used in the same way. So the fact that Facebook now, collects that data and adds in your attention and so forth and transforms it into money to then Mr. Zuckerberg buying a $7.3 million house somewhere in Palo Alto, whatever that is called. And then the guy bought the houses around his house for privacy and then demolished them. So that's how concerned he is about privacy. You must be very concerned and have a lot of money. I could never do that, here. Not even on my online, you track me everywhere. So yes, he wants money to build his house and so forth and his fortune. But money is getting out, it's phased out, little by little, but it is. Social credits are the best example in China. It will be transformed into other forms in the US, in other parts of the world. So it's not all about money. It's now maybe about money, but in the near future, it won't be about money. So if you focus on that, you're missing out the point,
Yeah, and I think social credits are a great example of that, because I can see China eventually just phasing out money. And basically just using social credits. You go to work, you get positive credits. With those credits, you can get some food, you can stay in a place, whatever. I'm sure in the future they will have no money, just social credits. And maybe you can, if you want to go overseas, maybe you can change those social credits to some other currency. But if you focus on money and you miss these kind of trades, that's really, really important.
I saw this thing, remember in the documentary about AI, the power of AI, or something from PBS, is on videonew.com, straight free if you want to see it. They're showcasing how in China, if you want to take a loan, like money in this case, there is an app, so you can go in an app and you can take it in a few minutes time. However, their AI there will look at your phone, and for example, if your battery is lower than 50%, you have a lower chance to get a loan, because they project that, this guy is not very careful with his life. He doesn't take care of his phone, probably doesn't take care of the fucking money that he gets, or how fast you type, when you're submitting your name and so forth. So these systems of tracking you, this data collection can be used in all kinds of ways. Now they use it to give you a loan in terms of money. In the future, they will use it directly for social credits. Then maybe Facebook will have other services. Imagine that. Have other services, and you can only access those services if you spend that much time on Facebook or click that many ads. Why not? Maybe you'll get a physical thing, and you phase out money completely. And hey, we have someone. Oh, Rama.
Oh, hello guys. Sorry.
Hey. You just woke up, huh?
Yep, almost.
Just say something real quick also about the social credits, because the scary part is also that whoever is in charge of this also has a lot of power, because it's not like they just check the loan from the things that you mentioned. It's like it's your entire history of everything that you do. They already know. So if you want to apply for a loan, you do it within seconds. The AI will figure out to either give you the loan or not to give you a loan, and they check through everything that you're doing in your life, and that includes if you said something bad about the government or not. If you said something bad about the government, well, they use their own fucking WeChat or whatever. And so if you say something bad about the government, you get a lower score. So it's a lot more to it, and it's a dangerous fucking slope, basically.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey Rama.
Hey, sorry guys, I just
nice to see you.
nice to see you too. So I just took a nap and something went terribly wrong, and I missed the time. Sorry about that.
No problem.
No
We
worries.
like naps too.
So what time is there?
Well, it's almost 1 a.m.
Oh, so you take a nap at 1 a.m.
Yeah, so for me it's a nap, usually.
Oh man, how are you there with the COVID thing?
Well, I'm sitting at home mostly all the time, so just barely went somewhere. Everywhere we have some restrictions here and there, so I don't know. Some places work only for like 11 p.m. or something like that, and after that it's all closed. So we have some restriction even on transportation systems. So Gov's people just try to lock up, like transport cards or something like that. There's some social things just to prevent people to go to the like metro or buses or whatever. And we have like rates growing day by day here in St. Petersburg as well.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as I know, there are no more places in hospitals already. So people are mostly just, if they diagnosed with COVID, they just stay home because they have like no places in hospital, and only if there are just like have some heavy symptoms, they just try to find the places for them, but most of the time just home. Also, I have a buddy who works in the like red zone of one hospital, and seems like he caught a COVID as well from his colleagues, because all the hospital is even if workers of the hospital are infected right now. So, but he feels fine, so I hope it will go away
I
after
think
some time.
you are too negative, Rom. I think because if you look at like
Yeah.
Bezos made 60 billion for the past.
Yeah, my man
Be
Bezos,
positive about that. Come on.
Be positive.
Yeah, that's for
The
sure.
economy is working. I don't know why you're so negative.
I don't know. I'm just pessimist, because nothing really wrong with the world. It's all okay.
Yeah, it's great. We were talking about this, this online trades, from this technology, how it became today so fucking. Have you heard about this like Roombas and other technologies?
Yeah.
Stop working because Amazon says.
Yeah, it's actually a funny thing. I read this like this week or something like that about the some tweets that people can use it their doorbells and so on. So it's so fucking funny.
Was it motherfucker? Knock.
Yeah, use your hands.
But what if I get COVID if I use my?
Yeah, exactly. It's all about safety, right?
Yeah, but it's interesting, how this people get so normalized with this. Because I remember back in the days when when I was young, and the internet came into Romania, and I remember when I was visiting some websites, and they have this pop-up saying, "Do you want to share your location?" And I was always worried about that. I never said yes, right? Because I'm not going to tell you where I am, right? Because who knows what porn websites I'm visiting, or who knows what the fuck. Now, nowadays, people will not believe you if you go back 10 years ago and tell them like, no, everything in your house will collect stuff about you, even film you. Like Amazon Alexa, keep this in mind. From time to time, they have their own team, human beings, listening to random recordings from your house. Human beings listening to your recordings, right? They say they're anonymized, but still, it's fucking creepy to just improve the voice. Maybe they have a reason to improve the voice, but isn't this fucking creepy, right?
Yeah.
And those doorbells and other things that they can take footage and so forth on your house, inside and outside. People got so normalized with this shit. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah, even if it's like collected for some good reason, the problem is that these data can be like stealed or something like that. So everyone just can get access to this information by just some database on dark web or something like that. And so anyway, even if like they claim that they collected for some like researches or whatever, it's not safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, and it can always change, you know. They might, oh, okay, we only collect necessary data just for this and that, and then it turns into China.
Yeah, maybe we can make a buck on that. Why not? We already have a lot of such data. Why not? So probably, firstly, it's as you say, it's a good reason. But again, it's happened with like any good technology. Probably what I'm noticing from all this direction is that some brilliant mind can think something of something really great, like for example, to have this YouTube thing, you know. So like 10 years ago, nothing and no one can tell what is all about the YouTube, how it can help people, how it can help to educate people, how large it can get from the time of like in the past. But right now, just because it became too popular, it's became clear for people who didn't even know that you can like earn money from the video or something like that, or to push a lot of ads to the YouTube and so on. Just after some time, some people and investors can see that it's like really, really a great thing to put your money and so on. So
yeah, it's not about the technology. It's not about the technology and the growth as much as it is about what do you want to do with it, right? So if you want something from your users, if in other words, you make a business out of it, then it's bad. You know, the Internet Archive, for example, is there for the past, I think longer than YouTube, probably for sure longer than YouTube, and their growth, it's great. It's not like YouTube's growth, you know, they didn't become more evil or whatever because they didn't have any business model. They relied on donations, you know. So for them, growth is great in the sense that we have more stuff in our collection in archive.org, more videos, more books to share for people and so forth, with people and so forth. But YouTube, because YouTube wants something from you, is always going to be like to tip that balance. You want a bit more and a bit more and a bit more and a bit more and a bit more, and then it tilts the balance. And now, for example, one of the latest news is that back in the days like yesterday or something, you could make YouTube videos and say, I do not want to put ads on my videos, even though they fucking put ads on the fucking sidebar and everywhere else, even in your fucking bedrooms, just insert ads there somehow. But now YouTube is like, well, guess what? You cannot opt into such thing. Even if you say, I don't want ads on my videos, we will put ads on your videos just because, you know, and we take the money. So, you know.
Yeah, and they won't even give you a piece either.
No,
that's a really fucked up thing. So it's like, okay, if you're like whatever they call it, you have lots of viewers and stuff like that, and you're monetized your channel, then you get a percentage of whatever they get, right?
Yeah.
Now everyone's gonna have ads, even if you don't want it. If YouTube decides to put it there, and they don't even have to give you a piece, so they get all the money for it.
Yeah. So these things change.
So that's how it became after all. So just I can picture that nobody realized in the first place when they created such thing like YouTube or any other technology that wow, we can, you know, put the ads and can share with anyone, you know. So it's common only after some time when people realize that wow, it's like a huge thing to earn the money or something like that.
And that's what we were talking about here, the fact that, you know, this money world that we are used to, it's an old kind of world, you know. It starts to smell like this jar that you didn't open in a while, and you open it, be like, it's just like it's bad smell, it's old. Today it's a different world, you know. It smells like perfume and people are getting so mesmerized by it. Look how nice it smells. But it's the same shit, only that it's online and people have to be wary of these things. This is not a small thing that we talk about here. Oh, the data collection, you know, the ads and so forth. No, it's a big thing, and this model works so well that they implement it everywhere. like smart bikes. There are already smart bikes that track you. They track your health and they track to see how much you pedal and how strong you are, but they use that to sell you other shit and so forth, not only to get money but to use it. Like Dima, sorry, Roma, you're not Dima. Oh, thank God. Okay. Roma.
Yeah. Still not Dima.
It rhymes with Dima. Dima.
Yeah.
Roma said something very important, that no one knows how these things will evolve over time. And now we look at YouTube and we blah 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 about and bitch about their data collection and so forth. But we don't know in 10 years in what they transform with, in what they transform. Maybe they will give up entirely money, and like Sasha was saying, they will use their own fucking whatever social credits and whatever the fuck. You don't know where that evolves into. But if you keep in mind this thing with trades, it will make more sense. Like, okay, let's see what we trade. Forget about money. Forget about money. Please, people, just don't talk about money anymore. I'm sick of hearing about money. And it's another example here in our Trump created news. Because interestingly, many things happened in that regards for the past 2 weeks. Apple, right? So have an Apple computer, and I don't know why you have an Apple computer, but let's say you made a mistake in your life, apologies accepted. You have a Mac.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
Okay, just wipe that shit out and install Tromjaro, Tromjaro.com. Okay,
yeah,
it works. Aaron has a Mac and has Tromjaro. And here's the thing: you have a Mac, right? You double click an application to open it, and it happens the same thing that happened with Amazon. The apps didn't start, or were so slow to start, to launch, and people were like, "What the fuck happens?" It turns out that Apple servers didn't work very well, and the apps that you have on your Mac need to first connect to the Apple servers. Imagine the shit, connect to their servers for whatever security reasons, maybe these security reasons, but still fucked up. And then they will launch. If it verifies it, if the app is okay, it's legit and so forth, then it launches the app. So your computer is not yours anymore, really. All of these things are getting tracked. Isn't this creepy as fuck? Like, you launch a messenger application, for example, and first it has to say hi to Apple, and Apple will be like, "Hey, are you a nice guy? Okay, baby, you're a nice guy. Okay, come here," right? It's fucked up.
Yeah, because the danger is then Apple makes all of those decisions for you, and you don't have a say.
And what's the danger here? For example, Apple will say, here's the danger. Apple will say, applications that download from torrents are not considered safe. Or applications that are encrypted, maybe they will say, because we cannot decrypt the message, or whatever, applications are not safe. And they will ban. Actually, I remember this thing when Seb and Sophie were here. They helped with Rom in the past, very nice people. And Sophie she had an iPad, and she wanted to watch content from VideoNet. VideoNet content is from BitTorrent. It's decentralized file sharing system. It's quite standardized. It's much older than the fucking iOS, probably. Yeah, much older than iOS as a technology. And she wanted to one simple thing, to open those fucking torrent files and download the content. Right? It was, let's say, legitimate content. She wanted to download it. We could not find any fucking app on iOS in the iOS store to download torrents. Or maybe we find somebody or you have to pay for it, but generally you don't find it because Apple probably considers them as being not safe, not proper. And you see, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Google with their Android and so forth and searches, like we explained, these companies control what you search, the apps that you install, the news that you read and so forth. So it's a big fucking thing because their decisions will be based on their profit motive, what's nice for them and their values sometimes that are also emerging from that. So you see, it's a big fucking deal. It's not a small fucking deal.
Yeah, they're like China.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people think that that's an exaggeration. Why is this exaggeration? China there are more people on Facebook than there are people in China, right? And I'm sure those people are more engaged with Facebook than they are with China. I'm quite sure. This might spend more time on Facebook than Chinese people spend in China, is possible. Because they travel sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes Chinese people take vacations,
Yeah, what's interesting about the Apple is that actually this guy is already did that like a long time ago. So with iOS and with its own macOS for the Apple computers. But what is interesting is that people notice this fucking shit only when it happens, like on the release of their new version of OS. Come on, they did it all the time, you know. So they already checked the apps on the even on the more open. If I can say that, like more open macOS system already checked all the apps and block them from running because they are suspicious or something like that. So you of course can go to the settings and click to the like, okay, I'm fine with it. Just let me run apps on my fucking computer and it's go on. But anyway, they already do that. Like I don't know for some like 5 years or even more. Especially with the running with iPhone and iOS thing, because I can say that probably they started this thing with the DRM, like with the controlling all the content from the servers, you know. So because it's really creepy, as you say, and really popular thing right now, just to like sell things not to people to have them in their own thing, like to possess things, but you just order something to use, and DRM allows companies to take it back for whatever reason, for legal reasons, because some legal rights on some components of the stuff you bought just went away or something like that. So, and what Apple do with their products is to like transform it to the DRMs everywhere. You know, apps. It's you buy the apps from the Apple Store or something like that, and they can get it back, whatever, like after some time, just to say that this is like suspicious right now, and we can take it back, even if you pay for it, even if you use it well, and so on. So I think this tendency is great in the market right now. So everyone wants to just like renting stuff, not the like sell the stuff for someone to own, you know.
But they pretend to sell it.
Yeah,
exactly. Not renting. So you're not like, who wants to rent the new iPhone, right? No.
Yeah, exactly.
Buy the new iPhone. And for those who don't understand what DRM is, it's basically what we do at Chrome when we make a book and put it online, and for people to read it. Only the opposite, you know. You have to like make a book and then make sure that like no one copies that book and like it's scrambled, you know. You only decode it with this special code that you paid for, kind of. That's kind of how it is. So I control that shit, right? And Amazon does that with their Kindles shit. You buy books from their store, and basically if they want to delete it afterwards, they just delete it. And they did that a few times. We talked about this before. So isn't it interesting? And we talked about this with Alexandra from PsychHub, to like how much harder it is to stop people from copying digital stuff rather than just share it with them. It's exactly the opposite. More energy, you consume a lot more to just stop people from copying shit online than to just put it out there. Just put it out there. Let people download.
Yeah, exactly. It's like in the one of the curated news today, it was about the Google. I don't know, maybe you already spoke about it, but anyway, so they
I wanted to bring it up now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they created this app for locking the smartphones if you don't pay for it, you know, so something like that.
So evil. So Google came with this with this core app basically in their Android devices. And for example, you say you buy your phone with Android from a vendor, and you have to pay monthly like $20 or so, and you should do better with that money. You can do much better things with that money anyways. But say you don't pay it and you have like 4 weeks and you didn't pay in those 4 weeks. Guess what? The vendor will just, with a click of a button, or it's automated, it will lock your phone, completely lock your phone, and you have a brick now that doesn't work. And well, just do it like that, and and applaud. You can hear that on the background, like, oh yeah, good job, we caught the motherfucker. And then what? You have a brick that you can throw away, and guess what? This is just the beginning. They will do the same with cars. They will do the same with apartments. Imagine that you don't pay your rent or whatever. The door doesn't open.
And doorbell is not working. Maybe they test something already.
Maybe your oven, maybe your kettle. Maybe all kinds of smart shit. They'll come up with.
Yeah, absolutely, for security reasons, because we care about customers.
Yeah, so they even call it like some kind of helping program for the people of Africa or Kenya or whatever. So they just think of charity here. So it's like we're helping people to buy the phones, so they can afford it if they're living. Yeah. So, but we, of course, like just fuck their phones if they didn't pay. That's okay. And what I want to mention with that is that how much forces of the developers, technicians, engineers go to just create these apps to lock everything to be like used freely or copied, like you said, with the books or anything else. So it's a lot of brilliant minds which we can put in the creating of something really good. Just create these fucking apps just to lock people from using anything, or just to block them to use their own stuff. So it's completely bullshit.
Yeah, there's so much human potential lost in this entire system.
That's mainly what it is, actually.
Yeah,
it's like Theo said that how hard it is to lock people down from using something or copying something, and all this power just spent into the nothing just to create this fucking
gates.
You can also gates. You can also bring this to other topics as well. I mean, in terms of collaborating on medicine, you also had say this vaccine, instead of all of this research collaborating together, they're like, okay, competing against each other, different companies and stuff.
And they think that that's what creates innovation, when they compete and they're like, I want to beat them. Oh, give me a break. Even if that's true, it's still awful, to create this fucking competition. It's awful, in the open source, it works to collaborate quite well, and it works quite smoothly, Of course, it's much more difficult to build walls and fences rather than not build them, right? It's because you build something rather than not build them. Just leave them as it is. And that's what they do. As an example of that, I have another news from Google, who at one point said, people of Earth, we have this... because they released Google Android, and they said, okay, let's have some selling points. Oh, Corona.
Nice.
Let's have there's selling points there. And they said, we launch a Google Photo service. And on Google Photos, you can upload unlimited amount of photos forever. And I remember that because I'm like, oh, really? Yes, make the account now.
Forever?
Yeah, but forever ended. Kind of like on 21st of June next year, it ends forever. So.
Eternity for someone.
Oh yeah, they market it like that, because I remember I made my parents use Google Photos because it was easier. Yeah, because sometimes they create much easier to use products, right? Let's be honest. And fuck me, unlimited space forever. Basically, they never said that it was going to end, right? And now they're going to end that thing, because forever cannot last forever in this trade-based society, because you cannot sell forever, and it will end. You'll still have this unlimited photos there, but it's not going to be unlimited anymore. You need to buy more storage space, so you are locked. Your photos will be locked there. You cannot add new photos unless you have 15 gigs for free, but let's be honest, this fills up. So, and it's 15 gigs for free for everything, Google, Gmail, Google Drive, everything, right? So you'll fill up quite fast. So the point is that these companies always change. Aren't people getting used to this already? They say one thing and then it's another thing.
Couchsurfing said hosting and couchsurfing will always be free, and then it's not free. But there, now you have to pay to access your profile. And I even wrote them like, you said it will always be free. And they're like, it's free to surf and host. You just have to pay to enter your profile. Like, what motherfuckers?
Yeah, read the small text. Like,
We're not charging for the surfing and hosting. It's just to access the website.
That's it. Yeah, it's sad actually, but of course, a lot of good projects just go this way. Like they lock up some features, but saying that we have free account for you, but it's free account just have no useful features and never develop in something like something good as in the opposite of the like in the comparison with some enterprise or pro version of account or something like that.
I'm so sick of this. That's why I think it makes no sense with this trade fee and trade base. Because like if something is trade free, it shouldn't lock behind paywalls anything. It shouldn't want anything from you. So it smells like shit if you put that filter. It's like, oh, it's trade based. Give me a fucking break, What do you want me to like? Oh, ProtonMail, use ProtonMail is free or something like that. It's not fucking free. It's free and free. It's trade based. They want something from you, and that's why I curate on Trumjaro.com/apps. I create a lot of poorly trade free applications that don't want anything from you. I love that thing. I so hate. Here's the thing. I hate these applications. What they do, in software and services online overall with their free model. I hate them. But what I hate even most, people who are not bothered by them. I hate them even most. How can you get used to that shit? I've seen people using phones or computers without the internet, without an ad blocker. How can you fucking use that shit and put up with that? Oh my god, it's atrocious. Atrocity.
It's like I read like a long time ago. I can't actually remember who wrote this article, but it was really funny about the banner blindness or something like that. So when you look up on the site or something like that, when it's like when advertisement just only develops like in some kind of shit, like it's right now it's huge. But in those days there are banners like in the frame of your site. So you look at the site, but you have on the right like a big banner here, and it was like interesting research about how people develop this banner blindness when you just focusing on something, but you never see all these banners around. You just ignore them. You just focusing on shit, and it's even like a new feature for our focusing mechanism in the brain. So you just develop this because of like you always cover the screen of the people with some shit, and they just like get used to it.
But they fixed it with paid articles, like paid content. Because you read it and its entire article is an ad.
Or like TikTok and Instagram and whatever the fuck else where they have the content itself is an ad as well.
So they can continue to build in it everywhere. So in different forms, but the first forms where you have all these banners, it's just interesting how people develop like new habits just to ignore all this shit around, just to take the information that they want from this site. It's really, really funny. I remember that.
Actually, when I was living in Russia a couple of years ago, there in my apartment, there were always there were always some ads posted here and there, like on the papers, and I just became so like I just don't read any of them. I was just completely blind to them. That when they posted a paper saying that your water is going off, I had no idea. I had some friends over and I had like a big dinner, and they're like, your water is going off today. I'm like, what? What are you talking? They're like, there's a paper like right on your front door. I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you can miss something because of it, because just sometimes the needed information is in the form of these banners, and you just like that's funny.
I have to like carry buckets of water to my house to do the dishes.
It's normal day in Russia. What do you want? We always do like that.
Okay, what other positive news you have here? Hold on.
Yeah, we need some definitely.
Yeah, and then I would also say that, in the future, it will infiltrate really deeply, probably. They'll have like this Alexa will like turn into your girlfriend or your boyfriend. And at the same time, they'll be getting sexy with you, and talking dirty and then advertising shit, So you want like Adidas shoes will make you look sexy.
And
I
buy
love your
some
eyes, but
Wacom.
what about
Yeah.
some Taco Bell tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We laugh, but here's the thing. I've seen one of these. If you want to see something very funny, and unfortunately you have to search on YouTube for these things because that's where all of the fuckery of humanity is. But search for reviewing sex dolls, right? Well, it's a thing. And now they have smart sex dolls, right? That they talk to you. It's like they don't move their lips. They're like, oh, you are so sexy. I love you so much. And they don't very creepy, but they're starting it. What stops them to like put some ads there? It's like, oh, 20% discounts, but it comes with some ads, not ads, but ads.
It's age free.
It's important. It's important. Yeah.
Yeah, it's AIDS free, and then you put it like it's just like it's very small.
Yeah.
So you read ads. It's ads
Yeah,
free.
exactly. Oh man, future is bright.
It will be AIDS in the end because it'll be artificial intelligent ads.
Yeah.
We are getting smarter and smarter.
Yeah. Selling point.
But you see, we laugh at these things like, hold on. This Chrome chat is in maintenance mode. Hold on. Okay, that's it. Fine. We are talking about these things, but isn't it like we were talking that we gave this example that in the past, websites will ask for your location, and it was a bit like sketchy to give your location, and now you have all of these devices inside your home, and you are pretty much okay with them. But that's like with sex dolls. Yeah. In the future, we find it funny now and be like, ha ha ha, that's so funny. But but hold on. You'll see. Your next girlfriend will sell you shit, and she's not human. And she will look like Bezos.
What about those little like electronic pets or whatever? They're Amazon things, right? It's like a ball or something that meets you at the door. Or what is it? Like we saw it also in a documentary.
That was from IBM, I think. This stupid shit that like a dog, like a digital dog. That follows you around the house in the film. Say, hey, hello, you came home, and all of that. Yeah, sure.
It doesn't do anything. It collects your information, basically, and acts like a little, like it likes you. And yeah.
It's all manipulations, of course, because it's a lot of manipulation in all of this stuff.
Yeah, because also, now ads have become so sneaky, with these influencers, for example, people follow them on Instagram, whatever, thinking, oh, these are just cool people. But every single post they make, if they're big enough, is an ad, and, TikTok using this weird ad thing. So in the future, it's also going to be this smart devices doing all kinds of really sneaky things, This is just the beginning.
Yeah, just everything like which people are used to like love in their lives can be used as a manipulation for anything, So even people feeling alone, of course, we can give you some doggy shit which will follow you everywhere and put ads in your head or something like that. So
they already do that with. They have some algorithms that will detect if you are predisposed to so-called mental diseases, and we are going to talk a bit about this subject too. So Facebook or other social networks can detect that you are more prone to like if you are lonely and so forth, and based on that they will sell you stuff that you might buy, just to make you happy, not the consumer. And they're doing that already. I'm sure I've heard about this thing before, which is really creepy, and is if people are okay with that, and they pretty much are, then that's the worst, I think.
So and most of the people just cannot recognize something like manipulative in this, you just watch your beloved, streamer or video blogger or whatever, but he constantly push on you some things which usually they make. Hey, I like to use this keyboard or something like that, but it's basically it's an ad, just like.
That dude even like even sneakier, not even like, oh hey, you can buy this, but like I use this and it's cool.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah,
even
yeah.
realize it's an ad. You just get that in your head. Oh, this keyboard is cool. That guy uses it.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think maybe right now they have some kind of a like culture developed where they like we have this like ad embedded, so you can skip like minutes from 7 to 9, for example, 2 minutes of ad, and just to keep watching the whatever you're watching. But it's all began with like firstly they just like try to sell this thing just how they use it like in any day, so and sometimes even I can't realize that this is the ad, because sometimes I watch something and all of a sudden you like it subtly become the like, hey, by the way, I have this new things, whatever, and you just like, okay, let's watch what is it. But after some time, like minute or so, you heard this phrase that they use like, and the links down below. So you just realize again, okay, you cut me with this fucking ad or something, because for some reason you just focusing on the thing that they try to sell, because you're really interested in that. So because you're watching something for like to have this information, but then you realize.
I'll give you an example actually now, exactly what you're talking about. Hold on, let me switch to this. I'm on YouTube. I searched for this YouTuber called Mark Rober, and he's a scientist, and then he does really cool videos. And then he releases a video called Shark Attack Test, human blood versus fish blood, right? And you're like, okay, and the fucking thumbnail is very like, oh, clickbaity and so forth. And he released before one that was similar. It's like testing if sharks can smell a drop of blood, and it's him underwater. I'm showing it to people now, and a shark behind him, right? And I'm like, okay, I trusted this guy. I watched this shit, and then you really realize after like you watch the video that it's an ad for a Discovery Channel series like Shark Week or something, paid by Discovery. Yeah. It's an experiment, but it's also an ad, Yeah. So you can't. They merge so well with this thing. He has 71 million views. He's
so
the most popular
fucking horrible
video
because
probably on his channel.
Even all video can be just for the reason to have ad in it, so they just can take this order to give the ad to the audience or something like that, but then they even try to find any topic to create this video just to put ad in it.
That's the problem.
So for reason to put ad in it, so not to like share some ideas or information or whatever, but just to put fucking ad. It's like
that's what I was explaining in the Origin problems with this Jimmy guy, whatever I call him. I'm like, imagine this Jimmy guy who wants to make science videos, and little by little he gets corrupted, because if you know that you make some money, whatever that is, money points, whatever social credits, by doing this kind of behavior, putting this sort of videos, you'll start to do them like more clickbaity, more and so forth. So people accuse YouTube, YouTube is YouTube's fault and so forth. It's the society's fault for creating an entity like YouTube, and for YouTube to like just playing the game that the society like faced YouTube with. And I was talking to Sasha about social networks, for example. You know how the people say, oh, if Facebook is addictive, and these motherfuckers from Facebook are so awful to making it addictive, and so forth. And I extend their tactics, to keep you trapped there. But I was thinking like, hold on, I'm not addicted to Facebook. I'm not addicted to TikTok. I'm not addicted to Instagram. Same with Sasha, what happened there? It's because we don't care. We care about some other things, to write books, to do this kind of shows, to like create content and so forth. So for us, it's not addictive. So I would say, don't put the blame on Facebook. Ask why the society creates human beings that are so attracted to these silly things. What's missing in their lives? Probably they have very shitty lives, like very unstimulated life. It's almost like drugs, When people start to abuse drugs, first you accuse the user, and you're like, oh, you are the problem because you buy the drugs, it's your fault. Some people then go after the drug dealer and say, well, if there wasn't a drug dealer to give the drugs to those people, they will not be addicted. But I say, no, Go after the third party, which is the society. I can't buy drugs from Spain. I'm sure if I want to buy drugs, I am not just motivated to buy drugs to get addicted to that. So what makes me not addicted to drugs? What makes me not addicted to Facebook? That's how people should look at. What makes people so vulnerable to these things? I think that's the real question. Stop going after Facebook. Stop bashing people for don't use Facebook and so forth. Actually, you should create a better environment. As much as that seems like a huge deal, I think it's the only deal that we have here.
Yeah, I mean, plus you have to understand that, yeah, of course, Facebook has, engineers that specifically work to make it more and more addictive, but they're just playing this game, that's what they've been taught in business school, do whatever tactics work for you that make you more revenue. And if it's data collection, then figure out a way to collect more data. These things just work for them because that's the system that we live in. And that's why it's not good to also to blame really individual companies either. That's blaming the drug dealer.
Yeah. Or regulate them. Catch the drug dealer,
Yeah, it doesn't
and
work.
they catch them and another drug dealer. And
Yeah, basically it's what they say, that don't do the witness blaming or something like that. So no, never like victim blaming, so and never do that with the people. But if you look closely on the society, you realize that everybody is just a victim of the system.
Yeah.
And basically you can blame, or like you say, a drug dealer or just drug user or whatever.
Yeah, do you think Mark Zuckerberg is not trapped in this fucking game that he's part now of, and he wants to like maximize those profits somehow? Maybe even he is a good guy. He wants to connect the world, but he cannot really, because now he's so dependent of investments here, investors there. It's impossible, So unless we admit that, nothing will happen. And when they put the blame on that in this fucking funny video with this Zuckerberg guy being in the middle of the Congress in the US, and then he like cameras in his face and he stays like this, doesn't even blink, and people say he's a robot, which maybe he is, But don't accuse. I mean, okay, even we talk trash about Bezos and so forth, but okay, I understand, and we are explaining our core materials that is mainly a joke, just to showcase that this world is fucked up. But the environment is what's the problem. That's what created, Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg. It could have been me or you.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. We can be on their places, just because we was raised in certain conditions or in certain cultures or in certain around people around and so on.
It's blaming the king mentality, basically. Blame the king. It's the king's fault, and then chop the king's head. And they did that for the past hundreds and hundreds of years. Multiple heads were chopped. But not many problems were solved. And that's what we do today. Our modern kings are Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg, and lately Musk, the Marx guy, and they go after these people. Oh, you fuckers, let's just fucking kill them or some shit, So what? Others will come. 10 years ago, no one heard about Bezos, no one heard about Zuckerberg, no one heard about Musk. They heard about bankers. They're going after bankers. Let's fucking kill the bankers. Today, people don't even know about bankers. Who? Bankers who? They know this technology, these entrepreneurs that they hate, the new kings. So, China or Bezos, they're kind of the same. Don't chop their heads off.
Everything is changed. Yeah. Probably next ones will be like some guys from pharmacy or something like that because of the pandemic or something like that. So they... Who will be the first who bring the...
Oh yeah, you're right. But it's also Amazon started to sell drugs on Amazon.
Oh yeah,
lately, so
pharmaceuticals.
They can take this flag on its own hands. So why not? Amazon actually, I don't know. Probably they do already everything. From the games to the internet services to the irons. Hair dryers, I don't know. What else?
They have the largest so-called organic or whatever food market in US, the
Oh,
Whole
yeah,
Foods.
Whole Foods
I
market.
heard about that. Yeah.
Or if you
Bezos
ever
owns a newspaper too in
Washington,
Washington.
the
Yeah,
Washington
yeah,
Post.
Washington. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And if you
I
heard
read
of
it today.
Internet Movie Database, the largest movie database, it's owned by
Yeah,
Amazon. You know,
yeah.
Twitch,
Yeah, plus they
Not
make
surprised. Yeah.
plus
Amazon.
they make a ton of the actual merchandise that they sell.
Oh yeah,
They
that's
also
another
make
thing.
products,
Fuck
you
me.
know.
Yeah. Fuck me.
And then they put, they see that a product is doing well, it's selling a lot, so then they'll start making that product and selling it much cheaper than whatever it's being sold for. And the other one is the competitor is being sold for, and then they put the competitor out of business and then sell their own shit.
And people might be outraged by such things, like you said, Sasha, because it's like, are you crazy? You own the store. You see what people sell there, other companies, and then you make products that compete with them. It's your own store. You can put it wherever you want. But hold on, go in any supermarket and you will see the same practices. Supermarket chains have their own products. Like going to Lidl here in Europe, Lidl is very, very big. You go to Lidl and you see, Lidl pasta and Lidl rasta and Lidl toilet paper and Lidl that paper, Lidl. They make their own shit. It's the same.
Yeah, and they're just playing the game. They're playing it well. They're playing it like they've been taught in business school.
Yeah, this is what monopoly do. So you just buy everything, every shit until you will be restricted by someone, some governments or whatever. So they even just create the rules for that, laws for that, even to just prevent this shit. Because without any ruling here, so they just some of them, some big ones, can just someday buy everything and be only one to sell everything in the world. Probably.
With all of these rules, they like which one? They were asking Zuckerberg at one point or Bezos in the Congress, what's your competitor on your niche? What's your competitor? Facebook, tell me what's your competitor. And Facebook like, Congresswoman, there is Instagram. Don't you want that? Like, yes, Congresswoman, but it's another kind of platform. What's your competitor? No one. They are so big.
And Amazon is like, we have so many different competitors, because we're in so many different fields. Every store is our competitor because we sell everything.
They don't
try to compete to Amazon in Amazon store, for example. It's like,
there are two stores in the world, two online stores. It's Amazon and Alibaba.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. If you want to sell, tell me another one. You may say eBay, but it's like a fly in a jungle.
It's smallest. Yeah,
super small, and they can buy it if they wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. So they even can keep their smaller competitors just to make sure that everything looks like they have.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Why do you think, Mozilla exists? Mozilla Firefox, the browser. Very likely because Google has to have an excuse that there is some other browsers there. Because 90% of Mozilla's revenue comes from fucking Google. What the fuck, Of course, if Google wanted to just cut 20% or 30% of their revenue of their investment to Mozilla, and they will destroy them. But they don't want that because they want competition. Isn't that ridiculous? We have a competitor here. Look at our little pet called Mozilla. It's true. We pay 90% of their cost, but it's our competitor, somehow.
Yeah. So it's just a game, So
I'll give you now
theater.
A good example of this actually. EU, European Union. So many people think, it's such European Union. Guys, you are so lucky to live there. Oh, okay. Dima wants, what the fuck is that? You're not Dima, you're Roma. What the fuck is wrong with me, I feel ashamed of myself. I know Roma very well. I have this problem.
It was a long time no see, so no problem. I understand that.
I think it's something genetic because my grandma had this problem and my mother had this problem where she wanted to call me and she would call all of my cousins, all of the grandchildren's names.
Every grandmother does that.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's grandma speeches.
I wanted to tell you about it was in EU they gave a fine of 60 million euros to basically a company who was selling this drug for sleep disorders. Why they gave this fine? Because this company this company had a drug to address sleeping disorders, right? And it was quite expensive. Now, a smaller company, as far as I understand, came on the market and said, we have a drug that is maybe as efficient as yours, but is a lot cheaper. And this big company was like, well, motherfuckers, can't you just shut the fuck up, you know? And they just bullied them for 10 years or so to shut up. Eventually, they bought them, as far as I understand, you know, to just keep their prices, to keep their own drug, you know. How evil is that, you know?
Keep their prices high.
Yeah, how evil is that? How many do that with with drugs for cancer and other deadly diseases? How evil is that? And it happens.
Yeah.
Guess what? You know, we have laws against this, but do they work? Do they really work? I haven't seen that. No.
Yeah, I remember from the article that it's like 5 or 6 years over there they blocked actually from selling this cheap new drug, and you can imagine like 5 or 6 years, then people can't like live the normal life because they cannot afford this kind of a drug for themselves, like just because of this fucking evil shit. The people just can live. They actually may lose 5 or 6 years of the life of normal, like very satisfying life, healthy life, right? So
others lose it completely. You know, they don't have access to some medicine that is life-saving.
Yeah, and probably so many cases that we just didn't know about. It's like,
oh yeah,
when this happens all the time, I guess. So, but we just, well, you know, that's top of the iceberg right now. So we can see that because some of like Gulf people from the European Union just like shed a light on it, you know. So just it taken into spotlight, but I'm sure that a lot of this stuff happened throughout all the days of the humanity. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was for the Money Game and Beyond book and Original Most Problems. I looked a bit, you know, to see, you know, about this price fixing is called, or this monopoly cartels. Trust me, take any name, random, Google, Siemens, Volkswagen, Johnson & Johnson, any domain. You see they paid bribes many times. They did all kinds of shady fuck. They broke the law so many times. All of them, millions, tens of millions, actually billions of dollars. You know, just think about the fact that Google, Amazon, Apple, and all of these big names, companies, they make shiny products, right? That people love. You know, people stay in line like idiots to get the latest iPhone right now. You know, comes from Apple. All of these companies, they avoid trillions in taxes because they put their headquarters somewhere in the Cayman Islands or whatever. Trillions, you know, they pay less taxes percentage wise than people in the US, for example, Apple. And that's the largest company by revenue probably in the world. But people still love it. You know, they love the monster. It's like the Stockholm syndrome, you know. You get raped, but you get attached to the raper. It's like, oh, you know, it's nice. Like he has a nice house.
Looks nice.
He's nice with me, rapes me from time to time, but it's life.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Probably the people just even do not realize they just put on the hands what they did and what they got from their products or something like that, and they, it's okay. Probably I can live with that, you know, something like that.
Yeah, so, most people.
Yeah. So they just so produce something new to amuse the audience and so on. So anytime.
Yeah, and I think probably most people that line up to buy the newest iPhone, they probably don't even realize. You know, how much they're cheating on these taxes, and
so they just
and they don't realize these phones are being put together by slaves and all this other shit. You know.
Yeah. So just don't give the attention to that. So because we have this slavery everywhere, you know, it's normal thing. You know, you go to the work every day, for example. It's okay. You get used to it. So and the loss, of course, is just another fucking shit. So as you mentioned, that they just don't work with in any cases, so that only like post factum, you know. So you create the shit, taken some time, and only after that you will be like prosecuted for that or something like that. But the problem is you can't prevent the laws, all this from happening. They will happen time to time and so on. So okay, probably you get caught for what you do, and then you get these fines and like a lot of money. But again, how you can count this time people has just spent without something that they really needed? You can't count it in any fucking money, so trillions, billions, I don't know, it's don't, you can't sell it in any way, so whatever the companies are fined by their deals in the past, you can't just give the people what they missed because of that.
Yeah.
It's like with politics, which all the time amused me. So they told you that you can select the president for the 4 years, right? So you can select this guy. Probably he is just stupid, But you can wait 4 years again to just select another one, maybe better one, But you spent 4 years for nothing. Like this Trump guy who just run out all the time, make people miserable, a lot of stupid things to do. And then after 4 years, you just, what happened? 4 years for nothing. You can develop some things, you can do something good, but 4 years for nothing. So, and this is the same for the laws and all this system. It's all the time amuse me how they sell this like you have a choice, you have a freedom to do anything, but all of a sudden you just spend a lot of time for nothing, all your life basically, just choosing whatever.
It's a lie that in an illusion that was so well promoted by this trade-based society that people call capitalism, because people go into a supermarket and see 50 types of chocolate. It's the same sugary shit, or juice, the same sugary shit, and they taste kind of the same. If you change the packages, you may not even tell which one is which, right? And they got the same illusion with politics in their choices there, Oh, look how many choices we have here, we can choose whoever we want. It's the same sugary shit, is the wrapper is different, the wrapping is different, but it's the same sugary shit. It's like, I used to compare it with changing hats. Imagine if people started to vote on hats, it's the same guy there as president, but vote for the hats, the blue hat, the red hat, the blue hat, the red hat, and they go into the street and say, we need the blue hat and then the red hat, and the red hat wins. And they, yeah! And then replace the green hat with the red hat. And everybody's like, yeah, finally, And then they get disappointed again. Be like, oh, we replaced the red hat and it's the same shit. And then, okay, we need the blue hat, hey, the blue hat, It's just fuckery, because it's exactly the same, not even exaggeration.
Yeah, because the monsters under the hat don't change.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the system within which they work doesn't change.
They did that with this Obama guy. Say, oh, the first black president. Oh my God, he's so smart. He talks like he reads. Oh my God, And they elected the guy, and then what? She just
the guy sent more people to war.
Go to war, spied on their population, and all of that.
Yeah.
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed. Voila.
Yeah, exactly. So it's another game. So just to make you feel better that you choose something, or what you make your influence on something or whatever. But in general, it's still the same shit, all over again, years by years.
Yeah, and we are here to bring you the bad news.
Oh yeah, pessimists. Our pessimist team.
We said this was the place you can come to if you want to complain. So
complain.
So we said in the beginning.
Yeah.
Have this news about the drug the competition there, because we were talking a bit about the competition with vaccines. Oh, we made this vaccine, it's 90% efficient, 95% efficient, is this and that. It's a news who said that from Hell News Review, just calm your tits down in a way, just calm down a bit. You have to look at this news with more scrutiny, because these numbers come from those companies themselves. Do you trust that? Let's see. But for sure they use this as a PR move. Look at us. We have a vaccine already. Who wants to buy it? Such a shitty world. And after the vaccine is ready, right? Who is going to get it? I'm sure people from Zimbabwe are first, and then people from Nigeria.
It goes in alphabetical order,
Yeah. From the back, so it's like from the Z, Zimbabwe, and then let's start with Angola. If we start with A, I'm sure that's how they distribute it. Very fair. No, they have to pay for that shit, and only people who are rich. I mean, look at the malaria. Look at HIV, look at any other infectious disease or just disease in general. And you will see that we don't suffer from this because, well, we are from Europe, we are from US, these pretty places. The rest of the world, they are kind of fucked, they're still struggling with that. There are people dying from diarrhea, for fuck's sakes, diarrhea-related diseases. Jesus Christ,
hunger, I mean.
Of course, that's...
So that's easy to treat, actually.
It is. When you throw away 30 to 40% of your food, it's easy, but they are not consumers, so we will get there, don't worry, we'll get there. I have an interesting news from related to that. I don't know if you are aware of this, but it's an industry of recruiting nurses. I didn't know before, but it doesn't surprise me. Like, say, Germany says we don't have many nurses, so they have contracts with private companies to go after nurses. They go to poor countries from even Portugal, or others like Colombia or Slovakia or Slovakia, Slovenia, whatever. Sorry, because I don't know. Confuse me. Maybe Romania too, or Philippines, yeah. And they go there and recruit those nurses, and they're like, "Oh no, we give you a great salary and this and that." It's a bit of a scam in many regards. It's a great investigation by Corrective. And by the way, you find all of these sources in the description of the YouTube video, or go on our site, drumsite.com/videos, and go to our Drumcast. But it's an interesting story, especially now with COVID, because this is what happened. They started to recruit nurses in this way, and again, it's for them it's a bit of a shitty situation. They end up sometimes not make any money, start to go back home. It's a very shitty situation for them, but COVID comes, right? And now these countries like Philippines now are like, oh, we need nurses. Where are they? Germany. How come? Well, because they pay better. And then Philippines is like, we don't have nurses anymore. And then other countries are like, we don't have nurses anymore. Colombia, because, well, Germany could buy them. How fair is that, right? The healthcare system needs help. But Germany was able to buy their people, right? So it's, even though Germany may look like, oh, it's such a nice country, and I'm not sure if it looks like that, but let's suppose, look what they do, things that you may not even consider. So it's an interesting investigation there.
Yeah, and that's just an outlook on the entire world and how it functions. Of course, these countries have more power, they have more money, they'll pay more nurses, they'll pay whoever they need, and that's it. So yeah, and the sad thing is that a lot of times from that article, like, these nurses get recruited and they end up being in debt because they end up owing the recruitment company like 10,000-15,000 euros to pay for like courses to learn German, to get themselves over to Germany to like start work there. And a lot of times they show up and they don't get any help. They don't know the language well enough because the recruitment companies often don't teach them enough, because of course it takes time to learn the German language if you don't know it. And they end up wanting to leave or not being able to stay there, not getting any help, and then they end up in debt. So they end up getting completely screwed. And that's the story of our world.
Yeah, again, so you just basically sell and buy the people, and but it's all called like it's normal thing, so it's just economy, recruitment,
jobs.
Yeah.
It's not slavery. It's
back in the day, back in the days, they took this, what they call them, black people, because of the color of their skin. They take these people you know, and they put them on a stage or somewhere auction, you know, and you pay for them. Oh, 500 for this, you know, 400 for that. It was normal. People accepted that. It's like, oh, of course it's normal. We bought 3 slaves today. It's Christmas time, you know. We bought 2 and 1 was like 20% off the price. So it was quite great. And they got used to that idea. Today it's the same, similar shit, but it's called recruitment, like you're saying, right? Recruitment opportunities, you know. It's not. If you dig a bit deeper into these stories, you will see that. You will see from nurses to people who work in the farming industry to people who work in IT sometimes, you know, you will see the same shit. They are bought in more tricky ways. They don't put a price tag. You can say, oh, let's buy these Philippine nurses for like 1,000 euros, one of them. Who wants one, you know? No, it's more sketchy there, you know. It's even more, maybe it's even worse because then the nurses end up paying for their fucking, you know, they get sold, but they pay for it in a way. That's how
it's even more profitable now for the slave owners because before they had to house the slaves and feed the slaves. Now they pay them the bare minimum wage that they can, and in this case they also make them pay back some of those wages, you know, and it may be cheaper to do that than to house and feed the slaves.
Isn't that a great invention? You know, let's move from like feeding and housing and taking care of your slaves to like let them feed themselves.
Yeah. Plus another thing is that, you know, when you own a slave, you own that human, you want them to last. So you need to feed them. You need to feed them for the rest of their lives. You know, you bought the slave, either you sell it when it no longer is good, when it gets a bit old, or, you know, it dies and you don't give a shit. But most people probably like, okay, they still, you know, they feed the slave until the end of the slave's life and they give it a place to live, which is expensive. It's more expensive than using the slave by giving it the bare minimum so it feeds and houses itself. And then when the slave is no longer good, you just get rid of it, you don't pay for it anymore, and you get a new slave. And that's much more profitable for the company. And there's, you know, there's no difference really. Except
so how greatly we evolved from the like past times. Let's see.
When people say slavery is over, it's done. It's no more slavery. Bullshit.
New forms, just new forms.
And even the old forms still exist, you know. Look in Africa, look at
right.
You know, all kinds of mines and chocolate, whatever, and all kinds of farms and
and just not speaking about the like black markets and so on. I think it's still like slavery and so on. It's still a thing. There.
Still, I think in the Originalmost Problems, I was writing there about how they sell kids.
Yeah.
You know, just like I think kids on Facebook. You know, and it was like a Chinese kid. It was less expensive than like a whatever Filipino kid. You know, and they put prices based on nationalities and all of that. And they're selling there. It was like
nice.
This investigation from Al Jazeera, and they were asking pictures, almost like pictures of a fucking dog or something, or a fucking. I sell my furniture. Can you send me a photo to see what furniture looks like? They're sending photo with the kid. Like, this is the kid. You know, like from profile, from this. Like, how much? Like, do you think it's worth it? Wow! And people, I'm not even sure they are aware that this thing.
And you have the special tools, you know, like for selling the car. When you like catch up with the people to buy a car, you just have this like. A suitcase or the instrument to check out the like the colors or whatever, like the thingy of the car. So you have special tools, for example, to check out the baby, how it's good or not, healthy or not, you know.
Poke the baby.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Okay. I have another positive news here. It's like coral reefs, you know, they disappear. But here's the thing, they are ugly anyways. You know, I don't.
They're ugly.
They are ugly. It's like, and they disappear. So who cares? Sasha, let's see, because Sasha is into this kind of thing. She likes to like go for snorkeling, and lately she's searching for an octopus here because we live near the sea. It's like, what's the big deal, Sasha? You know, I don't care about corals. They are annoying. You go into the water. You know, when one time I jumped and I hit my big toe and I was bleeding like shit.
That was a rock.
Yes, but they grow on rocks, right?
You don't know how to cook them, you know.
And of course, corals are extremely important part of the marine ecosystem. Without corals, about 25% of the fish in the ocean depend on coral reefs to live in coral reefs at one point or another of their lives. Coral reefs, they're like, if all coral reefs get destroyed, which they will in our lifetime, because coral reefs die when the temperature goes just 2 degrees above the normal temperature that they're used to.
The water temperature.
Water temperature, yeah. And that's going to happen. The water temperature is already a degree hotter than usual. The ocean has experienced massive heat waves in many different places. Coral reefs are threatened all over the world. Now, that article, I think, said that something like 50% of the reefs might be gone and more are in danger. But coral reefs, to put it in perspective, are like if you have a city and you take away the buildings. So the coral reefs are like the buildings of a city. So if you have New York City and you take away the buildings, what are all the people going to do?
Be happier because they can just run away and like see the greenery.
Yeah, so the fish and other creatures will get fucked, basically. We'll have nowhere to go, some of them.
Didn't they say that all of them will disappear by 2030 or something? In this
All?
rate?
I don't know. I'm
not
not
sure. That
Maybe.
In the Chasing Corals documentary that you can find on videone.com. It's not an ad. It's free, trade free. Yeah, so they are fucked, huh? The coral reefs are fucked.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, I don't think people even have a chance of saving them. You know, the only way would be, and I'm sure some organizations are doing this, is, you know, just taking some reefs, you know, and putting them, of course, in aquariums and stuff, you can see them, and maintaining that environment and keeping reefs alive on the land, basically, in aquariums and stuff. But most reefs, like more than 99% of reefs are going to go extinct in the next few decades.
But we will see them, right, in aquariums and stuff, right? What's
such
a big deal?
Yeah.
What's such a big deal, you know? We see them there.
Yeah, and so of course they're important for many different reasons. One is, like I said, fish, and a lot of people depend on fish, of course, and a lot of other organisms live around corals. Another thing is also they provide a barrier for all kinds of coastal regions. So storms come in, hurricanes, for example, and corals do a great job of protecting that land. Yeah, so without them, many coastal places will be in a lot of trouble as well.
Yeah, it's fucked up that, you know, they are going to disappear. People may not realize, but yeah, they are going to disappear. Let's see if I can showcase. Maybe I can showcase the trailer of Chasing Corals. Do you think it will be pulled down by YouTube by doing this? It's a very interesting documentary. I'll just mute it while we talk a bit about corals. Because, yeah, I didn't know much about corals, but if you see this documentary, it's a really cool documentary. It's called Chasing Corals. Oh my god,
it's a bit older, really... right? What year is it from?
Well, I think just 3 years ago.
3 years? Okay.
We are jokingly saying that, you know, it's called, this guy made a few documentaries, Chasing Coral and then Chasing Ice. And like in the future, he will make documentaries about like searching for corals and searching for ice, because we won't find any. You know, you cannot chase anything anymore. You need to find them somehow, search for them. Yeah, interesting about corals. You should watch this documentary. It's very interesting to see how they bleach. Basically,
yeah, what
they are a bunch of
polyps.
Cells, right?
Polyps.
They're
made of cells, of course. But yeah.
Yes, but they use bacteria.
Algae.
They use algae, and that's what produces their energy and their growth, right?
So they have so the coral themselves are like these little organisms, right? And they grow into these bigger structures. And they have a symbiotic relationship with algae, with these little plants in the ocean. And that's what gives them color. So those plants get energy that they use, that the coral also takes from them. So most of the corals can't live without the algae. But what happens when they experience excessive heat is they expel that algae. So they force that algae out, because basically they're like in stress. They're like, it's too fucking hot here. It's too fucking hot. Get out, you know. And then they turn white. That's why it's called coral bleaching. And they're still alive at first, you know, and some can recover. But the problem is most don't, especially if it doesn't get cooler quickly. And if this happens several times over in like a few years, in like say in a decade, if it happens several times, the coral will die. And this is happening everywhere. And that's not the only problem also. I mean, there's also pollution. There's all kinds of, you know, chemicals and stuff coming in from the seashores, from all kinds of holiday places, because of course coral reefs, you know, make for good vacation spots because people like to go in the water and swim at coral reefs. So they build all kinds of restaurants and shit, you know, around these coral reefs, and then
you can eat them from here, you know, choose one.
That pollution goes in the water, and of course also is really bad for the corals. Plus there's the acidification of the ocean. The ocean is becoming more acidic because of more CO2, and that's another problem, an additional problem that's also going to affect coral and other creatures with shells. So it's not looking very good for the ocean.
You sound like that.
Yeah, exactly. So many problems. Probably we can solve like a lot of them. Like it's probably it's like natural change, something like that. But at least
climate change.
Yeah, climate change. Probably part of the climate change also like the natural processes, like the planet change the climate time to time. But the problem
climate change denier, Roma?
No, of course not.
Because that's why the coral reefs are dying, you know.
Yeah, I know. So I was used to say that probably at least we can focus more on this kind of changes to make ourselves prepare for them, or try to restore somehow if it's really possible, you know. But problem is they say that you have 4 years to choose another guy who maybe will think about the corals, you know.
Yeah, and it's global phenomenon, you know. And that's the problem, you know. That's where I see these like deep issues where you need to concentrate on the system. You have to understand that this structure of our society is the problem, because that's what's causing climate change, and climate change is what's causing the corals to die. You know, so you can't save the corals unless you change the structure of our society, actually.
And we live on the same plate because the earth is flat, or whatever you think it is. It's the same fucking shit, so stop with your fucking tribes, okay? We have global problems. As a matter if they're round problems or flat problems, you know. They are the same fucking problems for all of us, you know. So we should stop fucking... Where are people going to fucking stop this nonsense with like, oh, let's elect... What about Putin in Russia, you know? Should we put another president? Who fucking cares, you know? It's like the world. It's the fucking world, you know? You don't have to elect anyone. Let's fucking solve these problems, you know? Jesus Christ, these people are retarded. It's like... And scientists don't know what to say anymore. That's what makes me concerned, because like... Oh, it's bad. Oh, it's really bad. Oh, it's extremely bad. Oh, we are dying. Oh, we died. And no one cares. I mean, some care.
Like the economy, you know.
Yeah, and we continue to do the same shit. We should ask simpler questions, motherfuckers. You know, not complicated because the economy. No. What do we want to do? You know, just move shit from one part to another. Is this environment like a monopoly game? Change the fucking thing. Try to provide trade-free goods and services for people to create better behaviors. You know, stop with your nonsense. Either this nonsense of like trying to put laws to stop the bad, or this nonsense of like projecting about a new kind of society, you know, far away into the future that will never fucking happen, you know. So let's do something more realistic. You know, that's what we are trying to do here with this Trump project, for fuck's sakes, you know, trying to tell the world, it's not a complicated world if you look at the structure. It's just trading shit. Okay, you want better behaviors? Let's make a better fucking environment. That's what happens with addiction to Facebook. That's what happens to pollution and so forth. Come from people who have a shitty life, or they are put in this society where they want to do more stuff, like to like grab more stuff, you pollute more stuff and so forth. Why do you think no one cares about corals? Because I'm telling you, they might be caring about corals, but if it's very profitable to just keep on burning coal and making more Volkswagen shitty cars, they will do that because it's far away from those coral. So what? Volkswagen, do you think? So what? Volkswagen is keep on making cars. They installed this thing, very well to cheat on gas emissions tests. Why? Are they so bad people? They don't care about corals? Should someone go give them a lectures about coral? No, no. So stop with this nonsense. It's not going to work. Laws are not going to work. Creating a new society is not going to work. We have to work with this society, but we have to understand it. Ask simple questions. We saw this interesting documentary called The Natives, and I'll put it on video on it. They take these people from tribes, from some Amazonian tribes or whatever tribes, the metaphorical Amazonian tribe, but Pacific, okay. And they take them and put them in the US, for example, in these
like
cities and so forth. Yeah, to see how they, how they adapt to that and what questions they ask. One thing that I really liked, and actually something that I've seen a while ago, is from 2007, this documentary. One thing that I really loved about, and I give this as an example in Toon Books, how they ask simple questions that have more relevance. Simple questions, like for example, they were with this woman from New York, and she was taking some money from the cash machine, and one guy asks, "Where does the money come from?" And this woman is like, "What? That's an interesting question. I never thought about that. Must come from this machine, but we don't know from where really. Who puts him in this machine? I don't know." Good question. Like they're asking, you have all of this shit around, houses and so forth. What for? Are you happy or stuff like that? This kind of questions. What else they ask?
This guy, they had they stayed in California with these people who were having a Botox party, and the guy was like getting Botox, and the native guy was like. Is like, does it make your life longer too? And he was like, it was and someone asked the native, like, the guy from the tribe, like, oh, do you want to look younger? And he's like, I'd rather live longer.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah. So you have to.
And then they were like kind of in this like after they saw all this Botox stuff and all this like ways to look younger stuff, they're like, you can't turn back time,
Yeah.
You just can't,
Yeah. So we need simpler questions, I think.
Yeah, another problem maybe it's because the system is somehow complex already. So like all this economy stuff, so people just overwhelmed with all this kind of shit. You need to think about, to just sum up things, to count the numbers, monies, a lot of shit. And with all of that, which afflict your life like in time while we're speaking, right? So if you don't count your money, you will have nothing to eat tomorrow, probably, right? But on the other hand, there are some topics about the coral reefs or like bees that become too extinct, I heard also. So a lot of the stuff that are not influence your life right now, like in this exact moment. And people just think, oh, whatever, who cares? I need to think about what I'm going to eat tomorrow and how to count my bank accounts or whatever shit. But all this stuff just became like somewhere in the background, somewhere there, not like here, But it's like you said, the simple question is that stuff is also afflicts your life, So, but maybe not in the direct way, like more like around of all of that, but at the end of the day, this is how defines like your life, because it can end up because of like climate change. You can breathe enough just being on the on the ground of the earth, but in all the money that you earn throughout your life, it's just nothing will help. to survive, because of like if you have not enough of oxygen or whatever to breathe. And the problem with the system, but the problem is that we can't go to another planet right now, and not. I believe other planet can be more hostile than our own. We have only one home to care about, and a sad thing that we still bother about some pretty bullshit stuff.
Musk will disagree with you. Musk
yeah,
will disagree with you. He goes to Mars. Not only that, but it's a near Earth asteroid that will pass by in December.
Take him here. We can speak.
About I want to say this, that it's a near, like an asteroid that will pass by in December, pass by Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's actually a space probe. That will most likely a space probe, and I think it's the one that they missed the entry in Mars atmosphere because of some metric versus units versus imperial units, the imperial and the international system units, or something like that. Is this one or is another one?
Going to the moon.
Is the one going to the moon?
Yeah, from 60s probably.
Okay.
Some rocket or whatever. But maybe it's Musk's like Tesla.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. Musk Tesla will come back.
Punchline.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. The next Tesla may come back.
Yeah, he went home.
But about what Roma was saying, I think also people make it extremely complicated, the system. Talking about this markets and this economy and this, they make it seem like it's so complicated that you have to go to fucking study economics to understand it. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be that complicated. You can see basically everything that we're doing around the society to get what we need in our lives in terms of food and accommodation and this kind of things it's all about trades. Like we always say, you wake up, go to work so that you can trade your time and energy for money. Then you take this money, you trade it for food, you trade it for accommodation. Bezos goes and trades a bunch of shit for money with you to make more and more money. It's all about trades everywhere. So if you just take it in these like simple ways, I think you can understand it, and I think it can do us a lot of good to have this understanding.
That's what we are trying to do with because I didn't talk about this, but the Trump 2 documentary, or the documentary we're working now, I'm trying to explain in this simple way, this concept, and how our society is. It's human imagination has it's a sword with or a coin with two faces, or whatever you want to call that. Because on one hand, it allows us to project about the future and then make predictions and so forth. On the other hand, it can trap us into this imagination. That's what happens to TV people nowadays. Like Sasha was explaining, the world is much simpler than this actually, and we just trap ourselves in this like, market systems, markets, economics, the society, the structure, the lawyers, the laws, the whatever, the roads, the state, the whatever, borders. It's so simple actually. We do the most dumb thing that we could do as a species, just move shit from one part to another. Like, what do you do? Why do you go to work? Because you want a Netflix subscription, and you want that new iPhone, and you want that house to live in. That's all. If you had access to these things, because we have more than enough, you wouldn't have to do this. So you have to make this trade stupidity obsolete. And yeah, I'm trying to do that with the documentary. And speaking of that, if people can help, you can go to tromsø.com/Trump2, and if you can help, I made a campaign. Of course, I didn't expect to raise money, but whatever I raise there is great, and I can keep on working. We want to start filming actually these days. I have lots of notes. I went through all of the Trump books to get lots of interesting notes. I don't want to overwhelm people. It's difficult. How can you explain? Like, how can you fucking explain this entire word in a simple manner? So it's going to be a challenge. But I said, look, I've already put so much stuff into my head. So I think the easiest thing and the best thing to do is to take some notes so that I don't forget something, and sit on a fucking chair and rant about shit, rant for hours, for days, right? And then I'll cut the parts And I also want to include Sasha and Dima. We'll see if we include that or not, but that's my idea, to tell a bit about my story, life story, because in the end I wanted to make one time this documentary called For the Aliens. That's what I wanted to call it. It was my message to have a message for the aliens, almost like talking to them, like, hey aliens, this is what we do on our planet. Explain it from an alien perspective, how the silliness, that you can see here, that I also got to sense it from that native documentary, the silliness, of our world. And I want to explain that in a documentary too, the silliness to my life, because I'm a human on this planet, like you, Roma, like you, Sasha. We are created by the environment, what we like, what we don't like, and so forth. And I want to explain how in the 90s, what created my personality and who I am and what I like, how I got enculturated, because maybe people get to see themselves in my story, or Sasha's story, or Dima's story, right? So I want to make something really interesting and quite unique. And I did a lot of tests in terms of how we film and so forth. And I think we might get something really, really interesting, both in terms of how we film it and how we produce it, but also the content there, because it's going to be very natural. Not a script, not going to read from anything, but I don't want to overwhelm people in statistics and so forth, but I'm really curious to make it. And maybe, I won't even name it Trom 2, maybe just the origin of most problems or something. I put it on tradefeed.org as well. But yeah, I'm working in this direction. I want to make people aware of this shit, because you see, we talk about so many negative shit, but I still keep on being positive in a way, in the sense that, life is life. That song search on YouTube, life is life, na 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 na. It's really interesting. That's what he said, probably. Life is life, and that's how I see it. I'm already here. I do what I can. Probably I will die like that in the same fucking shithole, but enjoy the fucking ride, and I'm trying to inspire people a little bit. That was my point. I'm trying to inspire people, and I'm doing this with this documentary now. So we'll see how it goes. I wanted to mention that we are working on something. Sasha helps, Dima will help, George will help as well. So I'm curious.
Worked on me, so.
You worked on, you see, why are you guys here? Yeah. I even got married with Sasha at one point. That's how well it worked. For those who wonder, it's like we were forced to get married because we couldn't stay together.
Yeah, it's a stupid thing.
Stupid bullshit. Yeah. Okay. Maybe let's just go quickly to one of the leftover subjects, and then we will close this. A quick mention about this topic called mental diseases. There is this article, a series of articles called Insane Medicine from Mad in UK. Sometimes I'm wondering, do I have some weird ideas that are not scientific in my mind? Because sometimes we meet these people who are, I understand this world is a fucking shithole and they are scientific, but somehow they believe in some fucking spaghetti monster or some homeopathy shit, or are into spirituality. And I'm like, do I have this kind of like black dot on my personality, right? And sometimes maybe the only thing that I don't agree with the mainstream science here, or mainstream or pop science, is this notion of mental diseases. Where are they? They think that depression is a thing, or ADHD, or all of this. Where are they? And it's interesting because they are nowhere. I've read so much literature on this, and they rely on nothing. They rely on just symptoms. They see some symptoms in people and they say, oh, you have depression, right? And they prescribe you medicine, whatever. And this article is about how they kind of invent these things, and they are psychiatrists and psychologists talking about this subject. So it's like people who know from the field. And it's no conspiracy, basically, here. I think pretty much the hardcore science in psychiatry agrees that there is no well-defined depression, or you cannot look in someone's brain and see depression or anxiety and so forth. That's not to say that those people don't suffer. They do, and they need individual help. But be scientific, for fuck's sakes. And I invited this guy, Alan Francis, to our Trumpcast, because he is kind of the one who started this kind of movement against this weird categorization. And he was behind labeling some of these labels, and behind this book called DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, or whatever it's called. And I invited to Trumpcast, and he kind of accepted, but I didn't hear from him for the past days. So it will be great if you will come to Trumpcast, because we will be able to talk about these subjects in more length. But yeah, that was my point here. Mental diseases, they are not a biological thing as far as we know right now. So don't treat it like that, but help people individually. It's very likely comes from the environment, most of the time at least. Some people are saying now with this COVID, like, oh, if you look now with the COVID, like mental diseases, like depression increased. Or no shit. People are set to stay at home. They read negative news that people are dying of COVID. You don't pay them. They don't have money. Of course, depression is increasing because people are fucking upset. It will be weird if they will be very happy. Oh, everything is so great. People are dying every day. Haha. That's a great world. So yeah.
Yeah, but isn't it kind of, with these mental diseases, isn't it more of kind of a guideline? Like you have certain, say, symptoms, right? Of this is how, you talk to psychiatrists and this is how you feel in whatever ways. And then they kind of take some of these notions and put it in a category just as a guideline kind of thing.
Well, that would be
rather than like, oh, this is, we checked your I don't know, something in your body and this is what you have.
It would be great if it would be like that. But what happened is that was the idea behind DSM. That's why this Alan Francis guy went kind of against it, because he's like, those should have been guidelines. But they transform into something completely different. For one, they do prescribe medicine, which is a bit dangerous if you prescribe medicine, because, you don't look at underlying cause. You just treat some symptoms, And most of the time, statistically, if you look at this, they don't work. They work quite as good as placebo, actually. Second, a visit to the psychiatrist is, at least in UK, in US, between 5 and 10 minutes, as far as I've read last time, which is,
really?
Yes, that's how it is. Third, there is a lot of investment searching for the biological causes of mental diseases, as nothing is found. So it's so much wasted in that area instead of focusing on the patient, And fourth, maybe, is this labeling that is, say, schizophrenia. Someone labels you with schizophrenia, and it can affect you. Put it on a label on you, being, oh, he's schizophrenic, and you have a lot of maybe repercussions because of that in the society. That labeling, is doing a lot. So it's a lot of implication there. It's not just if it will be just a guideline to like help you, that would be great. Be okay. Let's help this guy with the ADHD or whatever. But he transformed something new, and a big part of this, according to Alan Francis, for what I've read and others, is the industry of trades again. Basically, but the industry of medicalization. They make mental diseases into a disease. So now you have a pill, and then you can sell that pill, and you can make a fortune. Drug companies, and they promote this because in this area on interest, like, oh, you have depression, just take this medicine, right, or whatever. So there are many negative aspects when it comes to it's not just a label anymore. It transforms into something different in our society. That's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be great if that guy decided to join.
Yeah. I would love to hear from him. And let's end up with a positive, just the last positive news of the universe. They use citizen science. They use all kinds of games. Is this again this idea of using games for good, and creating these cool games that are not just killing people, are about learning something new, right? That would be really great to see more and more such games, but of course people have to make a profit out of them. So, but imagine into a future where you play games and you learn how to build stuff, how to... It was another fucking interesting thing in this Native documentary. Speaking of this, they go to these military bases and they teach them how to shoot at people, but it was everything virtual, like in a virtual reality set, right? And you're shooting people. And these guys from this tribe refused that. They said, this is outrageous. I will not pretend to kill people, not even pretend to kill people, because that's awful. But we don't see that. We got so normalized in our culture to kill people in video games. that we think is fine. Isn't that a bit insane, really, when you put it in perspective of that, to get some joy out of killing people? Aren't we a bit crazy?
They were really horrified, because they went in and they saw these soldiers like practicing in this game and like killing people, people on the screen, and they were horrified, and they were supposed to try it as well, and the guys changed the game so that they can practice on turkeys. So then they shot turkeys instead. And they're like, it's okay, to kill animals, turkeys, with these guns, but to use it on humans,
so many wasted potential of people who just spend their lives in learning how to kill other.
So there are these interesting games like Foldit, Philo, iNaturalist, and that people could play, and they can also learn something about the world. So there are some alternatives there, at least for the concept of it, to talk about it. Okay, I wanted to release that. I saved this news for a Trumpcast. You know what? I was like, I want to get them out of my system. Let's invite some friends and like speech about stuff.
Sometimes you gotta go on a rant.
So that's kind of it probably, and we keep on working on Trump stuff, and I will focus on the documentary now to record some stuff, and just go trumpside.com and you have all kinds of tools there, and see the documentaries, watch the coral reef one about coral reefs, and I'll put new documentaries on Videoneat these days. And
the natives one also, it's old, but it's interesting.
Interesting perspectives.
It's nice, it's fun,
Interesting perspectives, to see through those guys. And another stream, another day, the wonderful world, and we'll see when we're going to make the next Trumpcast. I also talked to this guy Richard Stallman, from the guy who kind of invented maybe the free and open source movement back in the 70s or 80s, and he said that he will kind of accept to come to Trumpcast, but I'm still talking to these people. Maybe it's this so-called Thanksgiving Day where Americans are thanking the Indians for like nicely giving their land away to them, and they kill some turkeys because of that now, the Americans. So maybe people are busy with this shit. So.
Lovely holiday.
Holidays are coming, Roma, so get ready for that, okay?
Oh yeah, I'm so ready. My body not ready.
It's the gifting season. Probably we will make some Trumpcast about these holidays again, like just bashing them.
Last year we did, didn't we?
Yeah, last year we did it. So whoever wants to join and feels lonely and upset at this world, come here. Let's bitch about stuff.
Let's celebrate this way.
Let's bitch about stuff. Okay, should we stop the streaming now? Shall we?